All right, I got a really cool rig for you guys today. We have a Jeep Gladiator, but it's not your stock Jeep Gladiator. Nope, it's a Jeep Gladiator Sport that's been seriously modified by the folks of RMT Overland. I'm here in Cheyenne with my friend Aaron. He's on Aaron on Autos on YouTube. It's his loan for the week, which I'm insanely jealous about. And Aaron's going to go ahead and walk us around the truck, and he's going to show us what's new. Everything that's new is on the outside, and it's kind of cold. So let's get started on that right now. All right, show us this beautiful rig there, Aaron.
So this starts out from the dealer as just a Rubicon Sport, or not Rubicon, Gladiator Sport. So it's a pretty base model, pretty cheap. There's a few upgrades on this. The customer gets to choose that. So this has the winterized package, so you have the heated seats and whatever, has the better infotainment, a couple other things like that. So you start out at the base at about $35,000 for the Gladiator itself. Then RMT receives it and does some work, but all of this is through the dealership, so it's one payment. You can finance the entire thing. You don't have to pay for the extras after, and most importantly, you don't lose your warranties. So really cool on that front. Now, what you're looking at mostly is they replace these. This is the biggest change everybody's going to notice. These are 37-inch BFGs. So you got your BF Goodrich K3s, I think they are. 37-inch here. The wheels are also different. These are actual bead locks, so you can remove these and put in the longer ones, the bead lock the tire down. This is standard Mopar. So this is the worn winch you get in the bumper you get from Mopar. But underneath, these are much upgraded Fox shocks. So you're seeing these are even better than what's on the Rubicon package. So this is a huge upgrade for this. Also gives it a lift. You can just visually see it's higher. Roughly 2 inches is the number. Just a really cool. And then these are also an add-on. So these are not a Mopar option, but they're already on the bumper itself. These are pretty cool looking. There's matching ones in the back. The snorkel is an add-on. It's a functional snorkel, so it is fully waterproof all the way up to this fitting here, so all the way up to here. The lighting is also a package up from Overland, so RMT adds those. They run off of the built-in accessory buttons inside, so there's nothing changed inside. There's no weird switches. Then on the back, I have kids. These are Mopar rockers. So these are also from Chrysler right here. So this is a Jeep accessory that they add on. They do a lot of work with Mopar because when I talked to RMT, they were saying they wanted to do their best to stay within the quality requirements that Mopar has and also keep that warranty. So whenever possible, they use Mopar parts. What they did with the third light, which would normally be above the bed up here, there's a Mopar option to move it to the back of the tailgate. So they went ahead and did that so that they could accommodate this rack. This rack is made by RMT. RMT builds all their stuff here in the US. They have 5 different facilities. So this one, I can't tell you exactly where it was made, but I believe it's made in Indiana. They have a facility down here in Fort Collins in Colorado, and they have 3 others around the US. These are pretty standard. You can buy them off the shelf just about anywhere. There's different sizes, different configurations. These are the smallest that you can get. If it was me, I would get the bigger 5-gallon full-on, and I don't know that I would bother with water, but potable waters, you know. And then this tent is from Rome Adventure. So this is an off-the-shelf tent. One of the things that I would do if I owned this, I would delete this, and I would use this for a kick boat, some kayaks, something like that, because I don't really need a tent. But this tent folds out onto the driver's side with a little short platform that adds on to it. And then this up here is actually the ladder that folds down. It's a roughly 4-person tent up there. It's pretty cool, but I just wouldn't need it. So the racks are on these individual rails. So if you look, here's that third light if you wanted to get a shot of that.
Okay.
So these rails add on to here. And then this mounts to these rails. So this whole thing can come off. You can see the openings in the rails. You undo these, you pull it back, you lift it off. This whole thing can come off in one piece, or you can take it off piecemeal. And then you can have, you know, if you only want the side rack and you don't want the rest of this, you just want the one sticking up, you can do that if you need to. It's all modular. So neat little setup. You can see we took it out sledding. We're out here actually pretty close to where we went. There's a big old hill right behind us. And it's cool because, you know, with a rig like this, you can go to the cool places to go sledding. The other thing that they do is when they spec the Jeep, they spec the 410 axles. So there's 410 Danas on here. They also spec the Maxx tow package. They do that for two reasons. One is the extra weight that's potentially going to be on here. They want to be able to handle that. The Maxx tow package adds the transmission cooler. And then also, they know that people are going to want more toys, and they're just going to add them on. So you want to have the ability to do that. One of their facilities is in Alabama. That's the Alabama plate. The guy I talked to this morning actually was in Georgia. So pretty cool. They got the when I was spending a lot of time in Moab, we always called these. They're called Maxx Trax. We always called these mud sleds. You just throw them under the tire and use them to float out of mud. All of this stuff is locked down. So you have a key for this, you have a key for those two tanks on the other side. So everything's secure. That's pretty much it. That's most of the upgrades on this. Money. Got to talk about money. So I said we started out with a roughly $35,000 Jeep. When you add all of this stuff on, depending on what you add on, for this particular package the way it is, the dealer price on this is going to be between $61,000 and $65,000 depending on the dealership. Like I said though, you're doing that through the dealership. Tim early on asked me when I first posted a picture of this, he said, how much money does this cost? And my answer was, who cares? Because if I'm going to buy this, I really don't care what it costs. I will figure out that monthly payment.
All right, hey, thanks for having us walk around the Jeep. I know you've had it for a couple days. What's your overall impression of driving it around?
So I was already biased to start with because this is basically my dream rig. Only two little tiny changes that I would make, and other than that, and they're minor. I don't want the tent up there. I want the bed storage. Other than that, this is beauty. This is as good as it gets. You got everything you could possibly name that any off-road or overlanding enthusiast would want. It's just wonderful.
So the big question I have for you though is how much sexier do you feel behind the wheel as you drive around town?
I don't know if I can get sexier, right? But you already got the Jeep wave that's already happening, and because of what we do for a living, we get to drive things like McLarens and Corvettes, and you know, cars that people will pace you on the freeway and check you out, and they want to look at the car. Cops will maybe flash their lights and try to pull you over just so they can look at the car. This, you get all the other Jeep drivers pacing you and driving and looking at your stuff and taking photos of the logos so they can look them up later and looking at all the cool stuff that's been added on. So it's the same sort of celebrity, different group, right? So it's just cool.
He's all over Instagram this weekend, Cheyenne. The trucks you're going to see everywhere. Make sure to check us out on Aeronaut Autos. I'll put a link down below in the comments if I can speak. Again, it's cold out here. Cold. Need some whiskey. I'll put the link down below if you can find it down there, right? The long story with that guy. Make sure you check the other video out over here. It's a good time. Website down below. As always, we will see you down the road.